In today's video, we're going to be diving into the first act of the story for Soldier Zero. I'm particularly excited about this because Anby is one of my favorite characters, and I can't wait for us to uncover more about her past. Our adventure all begins when Wise gets back from the waterfall soup, and he's got some pretty concerning news to share with Belle.
I just came back from waterfall soup.
What happened? Did something come up with General Chop?
No, nothing really. It might not even be a big deal. General Chop just mentioned that Soldier 11 hasn't come to eat noodles at the shop for quite some time. We haven't heard from her in a while either.
Maybe she's out on a mission?
On a mission? But even then, she'd still try to reply to messages from you. That's what she did before. This is starting to worry me now. If only her squad mates were with her.
Okay, so the story shifts gears and takes us back to the recent past. We find ourselves at Scott Outpost, where a soldier from the Oval Squad, her name's Trigger, has come looking for Ray. She needs intel on the whereabouts of Soldier 11. It looks like Trigger and Ray have a pretty close bond. You can tell right away when Ray notices something's up with Trigger's health. Trigger brushes it off, saying she's fine, and then gets straight to the point of her visit. She wants to know if Ray has any leads on Soldier 11's location. Being colleagues, Trigger is understandably really worried that Soldier 11 has gone completely silent. Luckily for her, Ray actually does have the information she's looking for. One of Ray's informants spotted someone in Hollow Zero who matches Soldier 11's description. What's more, this person was with a heavily armed group that didn't look like they were part of the defense force. With this information in hand, Trigger doesn't waste any time and immediately heads towards the coordinates she got for Hollow Zero. Now, the relationship between Trigger and Soldier 11 isn't totally clear. All we know for sure is that they're colleagues, and that's about it. Interestingly though, unlike Trigger, the other members of the Oval Squad don't seem to be nearly as concerned about her being gone. So, what makes their relationship different? Why is Trigger the only one who seems so worried? These are all questions we don't have the answers just yet. But don't worry, we'll be exploring this in more detail as the story unfolds. Alright, so here in Hollow Zero, we're finally getting our first taste of Trigger's gameplay. And honestly, right now I'm not entirely sure what this character is fully capable of. But my first impression, it's giving me serious MiHoYo's Nike vibes. I can't be the only one who thought that, right? But jokes aside, as soon as this mission kicks off, our first order of business is to take down a group of these ethereal enemies. And we make pretty quick work of them, using Trigger's basic attacks from a distance, with Anby swooping in for the final blow. I'm actually really impressed with how fluid and well synced these two characters are. And after this first little demo, all I can say is I'm already praying to the gacha gods that I win my next 50-50 pool. After wiping out that first wave of monsters, we move on to the next bunch nearby, and let's just say that we are just as friendly with them as we were with the first lot. And a little further down the path, we hit a roadblock, literally some wood crates. So we blast through those with Trigger's attacks, and then we grab ourselves an enemy to have a little chat. After a few persuasive questions, we find out that Soldier 11 is being held by some folks, and we just need to follow this path straight ahead to find them. And just as they said, when we reach the square, we see our target, passed out right next to a portal. Now, of course, we've got to deal with a group of soldiers. We make quick work of them, but then, wouldn't you know it, a final boss shows up as a backup. A robot. After we completely dismantle that thing, we finally get to approach Soldier 11.
Soldier 11! No, damn it. You should have been no match for her. What did you do?
Ah, the blind sniper. So you actually can see.
Release her, or else you'll have my bullets to answer to.
Your friend is beyond help, Sniper. There's no stopping Silver's revival.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to save Soldier 11, but the mission wasn't completely lost because we did uncover two pieces of crucial information. First off, Trigger is blind. This actually confirms a suspicion I had ever since that initial conversation between her and Ray. But the most shocking thing we learned? The resurrection of Silver. Who even is Silver? What resurrection are they talking about? What exactly does this all mean? And just like that, the story jumps back to the present. And honestly, we have way more questions than answers right now. So, we head over to the phone near Random Play to make a call to a new colleague, someone we haven't met yet. Trigger asks Light to let the captain know that she and Soldier 11 are going to be taking all their available leave days. She clearly doesn't want to reveal too much about what's happened over the past few days. Light offers their help, but she declines, saying she doesn't want to complicate things any further. However, before hanging up, she asks if they know anything about this resurrection of Silver. Light say they don't, but promises to check with the internet. And then, in a playful tone, basically orders Trigger to get some well-deserved rest. But then, a few days later, she gets a call with some new information about an informant who has some juicy details about Silver's resurrection, and they set up a meeting. And from the description, surprise surprise, the informant is Anby. There's so much new information to unpack here. But first things first, we're heading over to chat with our favorite informant, who's waiting for us by the grocery store, burger in hand, classic Anby.
Hello.
Is it you? The one who contacted me on internet?
Yep.
Huh?
Oh, the burger. Sorry, I was starving, so I already finished it. Thanks for coming to meet me. Long story short, we need to stop Silver from coming back. By the way, what was your name again?
I hadn't introduced myself. I'm still unsure if I can trust you.
Oh.
Don't take it personally. I'm always cautious with people I've just met, especially someone from internet who claims to have intel without any solid proof. But I have to admit, you do seem kind of familiar. Even though I can't see your face, you somehow remind me of a friend. A friend who's in danger.
They've taken her, haven't they?
Wait, how much do you actually know?
I'm just as clueless as you about what's happening. But you might have heard of me. I'm Anby, the former captain of Silver Company.
So, you're...
Yeah, that's me. I'm the one who died in Soldier 11's place. So you should get why I feel responsible for her.
Would you understand if I say I'm still not completely convinced?
No worries. I've dealt with even more skeptical people before. Trust isn't gained on words alone. So how about we meet inside the hollow?
Inside the hollow?
I'm not the best with words. Showing you through my actions might be more convincing. You just need to see me in battle.
And the biggest piece of information we get from this conversation, Anby used to be the captain of the Silver Company back in the day. Her secret identity as Soldier 0 and her connection to Soldier 11 have been heavily speculated on right from the start, especially because of that short exchange they had in one of the videos, and also because of their similar looks and fighting styles. So, while the connection between them is definitely important, it's probably not a huge shocker for anyone who's been paying even a little bit of attention to the story so far. After saying goodbye to Trigger, Anby heads over to Random Play to meet up with the proxy siblings. She asks them if she can crash at their place to rest until evening, and more importantly, tells them not to say anything to Nicole about what's been going on. She doesn't want to drag the Cunninghams into her past troubles. And just like that, the loop that Y started at the beginning of this mission closes, and both proxy siblings are now fully in the know and involved in the mission to rescue Soldier 11. It's actually pretty noble of Anby not wanting to involve her current crew with the ghost of her past. Is it because of the danger they might face? Or does she just not want the others digging too deep into her history? Which would be pretty hilarious, considering that every member of the Cunninghams gang has their own rather shady and mysterious past. But that's definitely a topic for another video. Alright, before we jump back to our main character, I just wanted to quickly ask you to subscribe to the channel if you've been enjoying this video so far. It would help me out a ton, and I'd really appreciate it. We've definitely learned a lot about Trigger in this mission, especially considering this was our first real interaction with her. From her conversations with Ray and Light, it's pretty clear that she's an incredibly hardworking person, to the point where it actually worries the others around her, and it definitely seems like her relationship with Soldier 11 goes way beyond just a simple colleague friendship. But we still don't have all the pieces of the puzzle to really know for sure. One interesting thing to point out was the phone call Trigger had before meeting up with Anby. That felt like a really subtle way to introduce two potential new characters for the future, Light and the Captain. Although I have a feeling it's going to be quite a while before we actually get to see them in action. This act has been really interesting, finally giving us a peek into the past of a character who's been with us right from the start. And it's definitely raised a bunch of new questions that I'm really hoping we'll get some answers to in the second act.